Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, everybody. I just got done watching the newest Steven Soderbergh film, Presence. In this film, we follow a family, which is a husband, a wife, a son, and a daughter, and you learn that the daughter was a drug addict with two of her best friends, and her best friends actually wind up overdosing and dying in their sleep, which causes the daughter to get clean because of it. She realizes that they're doing stupid shit, but it makes her start to unravel because of all the trauma that she went through and losing her two best friends, and the family decides as a whole that it's probably for the best that she has a fresh start in a new house. Kind of like when you go through a bad breakup and you rearrange your room so that it doesn't look familiar the way it did when you had your significant other there before you guys broke up. That's essentially what they do, but they move to an entirely new house in hopes of that fixing their daughter. However, when they get there, they learn that they are not alone and there is a ghost in the house, and it is watching as the family slowly unfolds due to the brokenness of their daughter. It's up to us as the audience to determine whether the ghost is there with good intentions or bad. And that's all I'll say about this film because I don't want to spoil anything. This is a roller coaster of a film in terms of emotions. But I'll start off by saying this. I'm very much in the middle in terms of if I like this movie or not, because the marketing was way off from what this movie actually is. When I saw the trailer for this film, it looked like a traditional horror movie where a family moves into a house and a ghost starts terrorizing them and scaring the shit out of them, but told through the prism of us getting to watch it through the ghost's eyes. We don't actually get to see the ghost. It's not like a physical manifestation that we get to see, but it's almost like we are the ghost moving through the house with them. And I thought that was really interesting. But then while I'm watching this movie unfold, I'm learning that this isn't a horror movie. It's a family drama told through the eyes of a ghost, but the ghost isn't evil. It's kind of just there. It's confused. It doesn't know why it's there. It doesn't know what its meaning for being there is. And you just feel bad for this family watching it through this ghost's eyes. And that's not to say that it's a bad story they're trying to tell us, but it's not what they sold us through the trailers. So it just left a bad taste in my mouth throughout the course of this whole film. There are moments where the ghost does things to scare the family, sure, but not because it's trying to be scary, but because it's trying to stop the family from having an argument over dinner that gets way out of hand and they start screaming at each other. So it starts flickering lights and throwing shit around the house to scare them, but not to scare them just to be evil, but to get them to stop fighting because it feels bad for them. It's almost like Steven Soderbergh is trying to say that maybe ghosts aren't all bad and they actually have good intentions sometimes and they're just trying to stop you from being toxic. But again, that would have been fine if they set that up in the trailer, that this isn't a horror movie, but it does have a ghost in it, but you have to show up to see why. They sold it as a horror film. So it's hard to kind of take a step back and judge the movie as that when I was expecting something radically different. The movie is never scary. There is one very haunting thing that has at the very end of it, but it's like the last 30 seconds and that's it. Everything else, like this is just a friendly neighborhood ghost. Now don't get me wrong, the performances were all good and the way the movie ended kind of saved it for me from giving it a really low score because it was really interesting what David Soderbergh and the writer were trying to do with this film, but it was too little too late and there's a lot of other things that kind of weigh this movie down. Now, the dad is played by Chris Sullivan, who had his biggest role yet in This Is Us. He was Toby, Kate's husband, and he's honestly the best part of the movie. Him and the daughter here. Lucy Liu plays the mother, but they kind of set her up to be not a great person. Like you learn right off the bat that she did something shady at work and she's in some serious legal trouble that she's trying to hide from the family, but the husband knows about it and he's constantly teetering on whether or not he wants to get a divorce from her because of it. He doesn't want the thing that she did to bring the whole family down, but he doesn't want to leave because the daughter and the mother have a very broken relationship after the events of what happened, and she doesn't really care to try and fix things with her daughter, and he doesn't want to leave his daughter because she needs support now more than ever, so it kind of binds him in this relationship and makes him feel like he can't get out of it. And it's the dynamic between him and the daughter that really saves it here, but Lucy Liu's character is kind of made out to be a bad mom and a bad wife, and you never get like a character arc for her where you see her come around and try and like rekindle things with her daughter. Like she's just a bad person through and through, and I thought that was kind of, I don't want to say lazy, but it's just like it's a strong choice to make you not like her throughout the entire film and never try and redeem her. It even goes as far as like her pretty much telling her son that he's the favorite child, and I just thought that was kind of off-putting. I didn't really know what they were trying to go for with Lucy Liu's character. And going on with the trend of bad family family members in this family, the brother is also kind of a dick to the sister, where he just thinks she's crazy because she was a drug addict and he doesn't believe anything she's saying, because over the course of the film, the daughter claims that she thinks there's a ghost in the house. She feels a presence there, and the mom, Lucy Liu, and the brother are both like, oh, you're just, an ex-drug addict. You don't know what you're talking about. Whereas in the father's the only one that has her back and is sticking up for her and is like there in her corner trying to comfort her. So you only care about 2 people out of the 4 people that you're following throughout the entirety of this film. So although I loved all the performances, because again, Lucy Liu is a phenomenal actress, she just doesn't have a good character to play here. She has good stuff to work with, but not a good character arc. I've seen some people complaining about the camera work here. It didn't really bother me the way it's clearly bothering some other people. Yeah, I mean, I bought a ticket knowing what we were getting. It was going to be a lot of pan-ins and push-throughs with the camera where you're constantly moving and turning because it's supposed to be like you're looking through the eyes of this ghost. That might give some people motion sickness, but it didn't give me motion sickness. So just take that with a grain of salt when you're going into this film. Keep that on the back burner. Just know that it does play with motion a little bit differently than most films. So if you get motion sickness easy, this might not be a good film to watch in a theater where you're not like at home and comfortable. That being said, before I did say that the ending of this film wound up saving it for me because it goes for something that makes the movie make a lot more sense. And I'm going to explain it now in spoilers, but before I do that, I'm just going to start off with saying for the end of my review, I am giving this movie a 5 out of 10. Originally, before the ending, I was going to give it like a 3, but the ending was so strong that it boosted it up just enough to get it right in that middle gray area where it's not good, but it's not bad. So anyway, guys, for those of you tuning out now, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I hope I helped you make a decision whether you wanted to see this movie this weekend or not. Let me know. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I'll catch you next time. Now, on to the spoilers. So in the beginning of this film, it's set up that the daughter is a drug addict and her 2 friends die of an overdose, which this in turn makes her want to get clean. So she does, and the family moves them into this new house where there's this ghost, and we're following through the ghost's eyes, right? But the ghost doesn't know who it is. It's confused as into why it's there. It doesn't know what its purpose is or why it can't pass on. So it's kind of just stuck there watching this sad family kind of unravel because of the daughter. And throughout the movie, the daughter winds up meeting this guy from school who she winds up bringing back to her house, and he like kind of becomes her boyfriend, and they're slowly getting close over the course of this movie, and he's very open and understanding about her situation and her trauma, and he's very comforting, and he's overall a pretty decent guy for most of this film. But then at the end of this film, and here is where it saves it for me, you find out when the boyfriend comes over for the last time, he's hanging out with her brother downstairs while she's upstairs doing homework. The boyfriend winds up drugging the brother to put him to sleep, and then he goes upstairs and he winds up drugging the daughter. Now, the drug that he gives her doesn't make her go unconscious. She's still all there. She can hear what's going on. She knows what's going on. She sees what's going on. She just can't move. She's like paralyzed. And he begins to put cellophane over her nostrils and suffocate her to death. And you learn that this person that she's been seeing, that she's been dating, is actually a serial killer teenager who actually wound up killing her 2 best friends in the same way he's doing to her right now with the cellophane. He got close to them, made them think that he was a genuine guy, had sex with them, drugged them, and then killed them in their sleep and made it look like an accident, like an overdose. And that's exactly what he's doing to the main daughter here. Now in the film, the ghost that we're following, because he is a good guy, winds up running downstairs and vibrating the house to wake the brother up from his drug-induced sleep so that he can go upstairs and save his sister before she's suffocated to death. Both the brother and the boyfriend wind up getting in a scuffle, and they both fall out of a window and fall to their death. But not before the brother was able to get the cellophane off of his sister's mouth and save her life. Then the movie cuts, and it's clearly months later. The family's about to sell the house. The house is completely empty, and the mother, now with all of her trauma, before she leaves the house for the last time, hears a ringing in her ear. And she goes over and she looks in a mirror and she sees that the presence all along was the brother, which implies that the brother was there the whole time from the very beginning when they first moved in, didn't know why he was there, who he was, what his purpose was, but by the end of this movie, he realized what was going on and was able to go downstairs and wake his living self to run upstairs and save his sister. Now, the reason why initially I was confused is because how could the brother still be alive, but he have a spirit version of himself there if he didn't die yet? And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in the spoilers here, because I was really confused. And over the course of my drive home and just sitting in my driveway and thinking about it for a little while, I think I made sense of it in my own head. And I'd like to share that here with people that might have walked out of this film like, what the fuck was that about? So essentially, about halfway through the movie, the father invites a friend over who has a wife that claims to be a psychic. And when she's there, she claims that the spirit is confused and doesn't know who they are or why they're there. But the spirit world doesn't use time the same way that the living world does. And it could kind of confuse both the past and present. And initially, I didn't really know what they were going for with that. I didn't know what it meant, but upon further reflection, the only thing that makes sense to me is in an alternate timeline, the brother was drugged, fell asleep, he woke up too late to save his sister. Now, the father, over the course of the film, tries convincing the brother to mend his relationship with his sister, because if he doesn't, it might be too late, they might never fix it, and then he'll live a life of regret. So in this alternate timeline, the brother woke up too late to save his sister, and now he has to live with the rest of his life knowing that not only was he not able to save his sister, but she hated him before she died, and he's never able to fix that. So maybe he grows up, he gets very old, and he dies an old man, but because he has unfinished business, his spirit is sent back to that house where his sister died. He's given a second chance to save her and not let her die. And it takes him the course of this entire movie, of us watching it, for him to remember what his purpose in being there was, only for at the very end of the movie for him to realize, go downstairs, wake his living former self up in time to go upstairs and get in that scuffle with her boyfriend and save her life, although leading to, in this timeline's version of his self, to die at a young age instead of an old age. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I'd love to talk about it with you guys in the comments down below. I'd love to hear other theories. Maybe I'm like way overthinking it. I don't know, but like really that's just the only thing that makes sense. Anyway, guys, if you made it this far, you know what I thought. I gave it a 5 out of 10. I thought the ending was just enough to make it not a bad movie. Probably never gonna watch it again. And I commend Steven Soderbergh for taking this swing and trying to tell such an outside of the box ghost story. But yeah, I just don't think it worked the way that he wanted it to. I thought that even though they kind of redeemed the brother at the end, you still hate him for most of this film, and they never redeem Lucy Liu's character, so you don't like half the cast. The whole ghost perspective thing seems kind of pointless, and you get just such a bleak ending. It's hard to walk out of this really liking it. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, let's talk about it down below. And as always, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.